Hello everyone, welcome to our video for today. Today we're going to be looking at part of chapter 1-3, which is naming and classifying angles. The objective is students will be able to name angles 3 different ways and classify angles as acute, obtuse, right, or straight. First of all, what is an angle? It says here that an angle is a figure formed by two rays or sides with a common endpoint called the vertex. So in this case, as you can see right here, I have an angle. It was created by two rays connected by a common endpoint, which is this point right here is called the vertex. Or if we have more than one, it's called vertices. You can name an angle several ways. So there's several ways we can name this angle that I have right here. First one is either by its vertex. So this angle can be called angle B, and we use that little symbol here to be set as an angle. So this angle can be called as angle B, so by its vertex, or by a point on each ray and on the vertex. So this angle can also be called either angle ABC or angle CBA. In this case, and what do you notice? That the vertex always has to be in the middle. When you name it in this format, the vertex always has to be in the middle. The other two letters, the order doesn't matter because, again, the order, the way you name it, tells you how to build the angle. In this case, you start at point A, you go to point B, and then you go to point C, which makes your angle. Or in this other format, you can name it as angle C. You start at C, you go to B, and then you go to A. So both ways are correct. The only thing that you have to make sure is that the vertex point has to be in the middle between the other letters. Okay, so it can be named by its vertex, angle B, or by a point on each ray and the vertex, or by a number. Sometimes we can name our angles just by simply putting a number. We can name this as angle, oops, let me fix that. We can name this as angle 1 as well. So in this case, this can be angle 1. So there's these different ways we can name our angles in geometry. Now, here in the bottom, it says, when referring to the measure of an angle, so they're telling me that this angle, the measurement of this angle is 60 degrees. We use a lowercase m. So, for example, here we say that the measurement, the m stands for measurement, so that the measurement of angle ABC is 60 degrees. That's what this is telling me. That's what the little m means. The m means the measurement. So the measurement of angle ABC equals to 60 degrees. Now, the measuring of angles, the measure of an angle is given in degrees. Since there is 360 degrees in a circle, in a complete circle, there's 360 degrees. 1 degree is 1 out of 360 of a circle. So we can use a protractor to find the measurement of an angle. So for example, let's say I have an angle where I start at 0. So if I start right here and I start at 0, and the measurement of the angle depends on how much I open up. So for example, I'm going to use a different color here and more thicker. Let's say if I start from 0 and then my angle opens up this much, that means that my angle is 30 degrees. If I open up this much, that means that my angle is 60 degrees. If I open up this much, oh, so my angle right here is 90 degrees. So the measurement of my angle depends on how much I open up. So let's say if I were to come all the way over here, then the measurement of my angle will be 130 degrees, and so on and so forth. We can do it all the way to 180 degrees, because since it's a half a circle, it's 180 degrees. So that's how we can find the measurement of an angle. As you can see here, it starts from 0 all the way to 180, or we can start the other way, which is why we have those numbers on the outside. Let's say we start here from 0, and then let me pick a different color. Let's say I open up this way. So that means right here, my angle will be 30 degrees, 60 degrees, so on and so forth. So we can use a protractor to find the measurement of an angle that is given in degrees. Now, classifying angles. So depending on the measurement of their angles, we can name each angle differently. So these should look very familiar to you. Acute angles, right angles, obtuse angles, and straight angles. So what is an acute angle? An acute angle measures greater than 0 degrees and less than 90 degrees. So if you have any angle that falls in this range right here, I'm going to look my little protractor on the top. Let's say I start here at 0. If I have any angle that is more than 0 but less than 90 degrees, so any angle that falls in here, this much, is going to be called an acute angle. That is greater than 0 but less than 90 degrees. It cannot be 90, it has to be less than 90 degrees. That right there will be called an acute angle. Let's say, and for a right angle says it measures exactly 90 degrees. So in this case, in this case, let me go ahead and remove this one. Let me move it over here. In this case, let's say if it has to be exactly 90 degrees. So that means that my angle has to be exactly 90 degrees for it to be called a right angle. Okay. All right, then what about an obtuse angle? An obtuse angle says it measures greater than 90 degrees, but less than 180. So in order for it to be called an obtuse angle, it has to be greater than 90 degrees. So it has to be more than 90 degrees, but less than 180. So it can be less than 180, but it has to be more than 90 degrees. So an obtuse angle will fall somewhere in here. That's how we know it's an obtuse angle, because it has to be more than 90 degrees, but less than 180. That right there would give me an obtuse angle. And lastly, a straight angle. A straight angle would be that it has to be formed by two opposite rays. If you remember from our first chapter, it has to be two opposite rays, and it measures 180. So why is it two opposite rays? Because if you see here, if I start at 0 and I go all the way to 180 degrees, what do we create? We create two opposite rays. In this case, it will be a straight line. That's why a straight angle has to be exactly 180 degrees. So these are 4 different ways we can classify our angles. An acute angle, which is more than 90, but less than 90 degrees. A right angle that is exactly 90 degrees. An obtuse angle that is more than 90 degrees, but less than 180. And straight angle is exactly 180 degrees. So let's go ahead and do some examples. So for these examples here, they want me to name and classify these angles here. So first of all, the question is asking, choose the wrong name for this angle. So if we remember, there's 3 different ways we can name our angle here. First one can be either by my vertex, in this case is E. So one way I can name this angle is angle E. Another way I can name my angle is by the three letters. Again, which one has to be in the middle? Our vertex. In this case, this can be angle DEF or angle FED. And lastly, the third way we can name our angle is by the number in the middle. In this case, it will be angle 2. So these right here are the 4 different ways we can name this angle. So let's see which one is the wrong one. Can I name it angle E? Yes, because that's my vertex. Can I name it angle D? Can I name it by a point on a ray? I can't, right? Because that is not going to tell me that is an angle right there. That's just actually just a point. So in this case, this one cannot. Can I name it angle 2? Yes, because that's the number on my vertex. And can I name it angle DEF? Well, as long as my vertex is in the middle, then yes, it's correct. So in this case, choose the wrong name for this angle. I cannot name it angle D. All right, let's look at the second example. They want us to choose the wrong name of this angle. So let's first of all list all the ways we can name it. First off can be by its vertex. So this can be angle B. Second, B can be by the 3 letters, and B has to be in the middle. The vertex has to be in the middle. So in this case, it can be angle ABC or angle CBA. And lastly, I can also name it by the number, in this case, angle 5. So let's go ahead and see which one is the wrong way. Can I name it angle ABC? Well, yes, because my vertex is in the middle, so yes. Can I name it angle B? Well, yes, because that's my vertex. Can I name it angle 5? Yes, because that's the number in the middle. But can I name it angle C? Pues not que ver. No, this point right here is not going to determine my angle. So in this way, I cannot name it angle C. So that means that's my answer. And this last third example over here, choose the wrong name. So let's go ahead and list the different names that I can use for this angle. So I'm gonna move this over here. All right, so first off, I can name it by its vertex. In this case, it's angle B. Second, I can name it by the 3 points with my vertex point in the middle. So it could be angle ABC or angle CBA. And lastly, I can name it by the number. So angle 1. So let's see which one is wrong. Can I name it angle BAC? Oh, why can I not be this one? Can the letter A be in the middle? No, right? Because which one has to be in the middle? It has to be my vertex. So in this case, I cannot name it that way. Can I name it angle 1? Yes. Can I name it angle B? Yes, because that's my vertex. And can I name it angle ABC? Yes, because my vertex is in the middle. So in this case, my answer has to be letter A. because I cannot name it in that order since my vertex is not the one in the middle. All right, now what about these examples? Here they're asking me to classify each angle as acute, obtuse, right, or obtuse. So they only give me the figure and they don't give me the measurement of the angle, but just by simply looking at it, can we determine if it's either a straight angle or right angle, an acute and an obtuse? Yes, because is it a straight angle? No, because it's the straight angle is 180 degrees, so it cannot be a straight angle. Can it be a right angle? Well, is it exactly 90 degrees? No. What about an acute angle? Is it less than 90 degrees? Well, no, that looks more than 90 degrees because it's more open. So in this case, it has to be an obtuse angle. All right, if we look at this next example over here, let me see. If we look at this one here, I went ahead and put a little protractor here in case I can use it for an example. If you can see here, this angle right here is obviously less than 90 degrees. So in this case, it has to be an acute angle. And then in case you don't believe me, I'm going to use this example right here. If I set my protractor on here, notice how my angle here is obviously going to be less than 90 degrees. It's between 60 and 70. So that is why this angle right here will be called an acute angle because it's greater than 0 degrees, but it's less than 90 degrees. So in this case, that is why it's called an acute angle. In this case over here, what would this one be called? Obviously, it will be a straight angle because it makes 180 degrees. As you can see right here, it makes 180 degrees. So in this case, it will be called a straight angle. And lastly, this last one, well, it looks like it's 90 degrees, but how can I be sure it's 90 degrees? In this case, obviously, I can just put my protractor up here. And as you can see here, it's 90 degrees. So in this case, it will be called a right angle. Because it's exactly 90 degrees, it'll be called a right angle. But what if we only have the measurements? Classify each angle as acute, obtuse, right, or straight. What if they only told me it's 180 degrees? How would I know? If I don't have the drawing, how would I know that it's either acute, straight, right, or obtuse? Well, I know that if it's 180 degrees, if I look at my protractor, let's say I start here. If it's 180 degrees, then obviously it goes past this. And if it's 180 degrees, that means it's a straight angle. So in this case, my answer is letter A. What about 90 degrees? What did we say 90-degree angle was? Well, what was the name of that? If it's exactly 90 degrees, that means that it has to be a, let's start at 0. And if it's exactly 90 degrees, that means there's a right angle, What about 50 degrees? What is that going to be? I know that it has to be either right, or straight, or an obtuse, or acute. So obviously it's not a right because it's not 90 degrees. And it's not a straight angle because it's not 180 degrees. So a 50-degree angle, in this case, if we look at this example here, if we start at 0 and we open 50 degrees, then that has to be an acute angle because it's less than 90 degrees. In this case, it's going to be an acute angle. But then what about if it's 138 degrees? If I look at my protractor here, if it's 138 degrees, I start at 0, and if I open up 138, in this case, it'll be like around somewhere here, then obviously it has to be an obtuse angle because it's more than 90, but less than 180 degrees. So this section was really short and very basic, straight to the point. So thank you so much for watching my video. Work on your assignment that was posted on Google Classroom. If you have any questions, go back to the Zoom meeting and I will be there for you during class. Thank you.